spent most of the time pretty close to the vest here. But I think both Mr. Riddick and Dr. Whibley will be joining us momentarily. So in the interest of time, and we have a guest here, not to mention 3 TV cameras, that maybe we ought to get moving. So, Mr. Manager, you want to?
Yes, Mayor and members of council. Today's agenda, we have a couple of items. First, as the mayor mentioned, we have Mr. Bruce Thompson here that's going to bring an update to the council about the Hotel Conference Center. We'll have a closed session with a few real estate matters and one legal matter, and then I will provide you with an update on Waterside. So with that said, Mayor, I'll turn it back over to you.
All right. Thank you, Marcus. When we broke just before our break, we talked about meeting. In fact, we actually passed an ordinance to call this meeting so we could come in and get an update from Mr. Thompson on the development of the Conference Center Hotel and then other matters. So, and Bruce has agreed to come. And so, Mr. Thompson, Bruce, if you'd like to step up to the podium, we'd be glad to hear from you. And thank you for being here. I know this is probably a little faster than you had expected, but we really are interested in how well the thing's coming along.
Well, it's my pleasure, Mayor and members of council. In the last 120 days, we have been working fast and furiously. We remain extremely excited. We've accomplished quite a bit, and I look forward to sharing that with you. I only wish today that we had a rendering. I was really close to bringing you one, but we're just not quite there, and I don't want to put out anything before you all or to the public that we can't actually deliver at the end of the day. So we're very, very close to being able to bring some pretty pictures to you, and I look forward to that. But what we have done is pretty substantial. The first aspect was we spent a lot of time reviewing the existing plans that you all had to develop the hotel previously. We even met with the previous architect and had some lengthy discussions with him about potentially participating with us in the development of the new hotel facility. At the end of the day, we determined that there was a lot of opportunities for increased efficiency in the hotel that wasn't currently designed in, and elected to not continue with that architect or with that design, and have actually retained a new architectural firm, Cooper Carey. We've signed a contract with them, and we're proceeding with them to develop an entirely different design. I think a more exciting design, which I'll share with you a couple of component pieces of that, and something that's extremely more efficient. We believe at this time that the good news is, from the city standpoint, is that we'll have approximately the same number of parking spaces, but with actually 2 less parking decks. So that will save you all a substantial amount of money. So the redesign, as well as some other efficiencies that we're going to be able to gain with from the operational standpoint. We're looking at a design. We took the design team. It was 4 designers and 3 architects, and then a group from my development company. And we camped out in the Marriott for 4 days. Various members of the city staff visited with us. We met with Karen Scherberger, met with the folks from Visit Norfolk, and then we dined throughout downtown Norfolk. We looked at the site, and we actually resketched a new building. One of the things that we came away with that I think you'll find encouraging, and I look forward to sharing with you when we get the design, was we had this idea of the Norfolk Seaport town, and the city of Norfolk, being the historical aspects of the way it relates to the waterfront, and relates to the Navy and to the seaport. By the time we finished the 4 days, while we are mindful and respectful of that heritage and that history, we felt as though that the design that we are embarking upon is going to be fresh and contemporary and something different, something that will rival a facility, an iconic facility that you would see in most major markets around the country. So we're going to be respectful to the seaport town, but at the same time, we anticipate bringing forth a design that is very contemporary, very exciting, and very, very, very different from anything that's currently in the region that I'm aware of, and for that matter, it'll rival anything in the Mid-Atlantic. The first floor, we're going to have the lobby on the second floor now. The first floor, we are trying to liken it like Grand Central Station, a busy place that you can see from all angles on the street. We really want to take the corner of Granby and Main and sort of put our marker there and create that intersection as a place that people will migrate to from all sections of Granby Street and Main Street, and from downtown Norfolk. So our plan, when we bring it forward, will address those issues. So like I said, we've hired Cooper Carey, and the architectural firm is well underway. We've given them the deposits, and we've had several meetings. I should have some renderings and some more details on that very shortly. We've also hired a world-class conference center consultant, and we spent a lot of time with that conference center consultant talking about the needs of the market and how to distinguish ourselves as different. And the one thing that I'll share with you that came out of those discussions was we're not looking to creating a hotel with meeting rooms that can be used for conferences, but we're looking to create a conference center that is unique and different. And there's a big difference from a hotel that has meeting rooms and a ballroom as opposed to to a facility that has actually a conference center. A conference center that is state-of-the-art, that has the small rooms, that has places for people to break out, a place for people the conference center attendees in smaller meetings to actually sit and relax and contemplate what they're doing, to have access to food and beverage within the facility itself. The IAC designation is an important part, but also the look and feel. And we think that we are embarking upon, with the consultant, creating a facility that will be unlike anything that's in the region and will rival anything that's in the Mid-Atlantic. We're looking not to compete with other hotels that have meeting places, but looking to compete with, on the region, markets like Raleigh, Richmond, even as far as Atlanta, that are looking for those small, high-end, very sophisticated meeting and facilities. The consultant we've hired, he's designed the best of the best in the world, and we'll have a report from him, and he'll be here to share with you how we're going to put together that conference center facility when we bring you the plans and renderings. So the name of the group is Pompin Hospitality, and I think if you look at them online, you'll be surprised at the amount of work that the body of work that they've completed throughout the United States. In addition to that, we've spent a lot of time negotiating and talking to various franchises. We have elected to pursue a Hilton franchise for this property, and we will be engaging in contractual negotiations with Hilton in the very near future. Two primary reasons for selecting Hilton, or three primary reasons. The first is that there isn't a Hilton product in all of downtown Norfolk. And Hilton arguably is one of the leading, if not, well, it's one of the leading hotel franchises. There's not a Hampton Inn, there's not a Homewood Suites, there's not a Hilton product in downtown Norfolk. And now with the Hilton at the airport losing its designation, there's not even a full-service Hilton in the market. So from a competitive standpoint, we believe that that gives us an advantage. The second reason that we selected Hilton as opposed to Westin, for instance, is Westin is in the Starwood chain of hotels, and Westin in the Starwood chain is also the Sheraton. And we don't want to be in a reservation sort of a conflict with the Sheraton in downtown Norfolk in any way, shape, or form. So in other words, if you were to go on to the Starwood system and you were to log in, you'd find that you'd be offered the Westin, and then you'd also be offered the Sheraton. It can create a sort of a competitive situation in a lot of ways, and we just don't think that diluting the Sheraton's market share would be the smart thing for us to do. The other reason, and probably the most compelling reason, is that we're looking to be a market maker. And in doing so with the new conference facility and the new ballroom, we want to attract all three. We want to have the most bandwidth in the market we can possibly have. So you have the Marriott National Sales Team, you'll have the Starwood National Sales Team working for the Sheraton, and now the Hilton National Sales Team. So we'll have three national sales teams out there promoting downtown Norfolk as a destination, as opposed to us just leaning on the Sheraton. We've also we had a RFP out for a general contractor because we want to bring the general contractor in as we're doing our plans. In the past, and some people, and I believe the city of Norfolk will hire a cost estimator to work with them. A cost estimator is all well and good, and we've used cost estimators before, and they're helpful in the process. But there's nothing more helpful in the process than to have the general contractor with you from the beginning. So as we complete sets of plans, which we have a complete set of schematic plans right now that we're working on, we can give them to him, because ultimately he's got to comment on the constructability as well as the price. So we'll have the advantage to value engineer the project all the way through if the general contractor's on board. We're going to we talked to four of the largest firms. We've selected WM Jordan. They were not only the most competitive, but they had the the most aggressive schedule. And we will have them on a cost-plus contract with a guaranteed maximum price, which we'll be delivering to you all as we get through the schematic phase of the project. So it'll be whatever the cost is, plus I think it's 2%, and with a guaranteed maximum price that won't exceed X. So we have the general contractor on board, we have the franchise on board, we have the conference center consultant on board, we have the architectural team on board. Let me check my note to make sure that I didn't forget anything else. Did pretty good with that. General contractor, franchise, conference center. Yep. And then as to timeline, the way we are seeing it right now, the way we are progressing, and the team is working aggressively, we anticipate that we will have somewhere around the 1st to the middle of October a complete set of design development documents that will specify all of the component parts of the hotel. I hope to get back to you before then, though. As soon as I have a good schematic set and we have some preliminary pricing, I look forward to coming back and giving you an additional briefing. But we should have a good design development set of documents by mid-October. We're hoping to be able to move those along rather quickly. We have a staff meeting set up with Ron, with the city on right after the Labor Day to start working on some of the different issues that we're gonna have to deal with, the public utilities and other infrastructure improvements that we have to have. But if we get the design development documents complete in mid-October and get everyone on board and get a good set of pricing for that, and the city is happy with the plans we brought forward, then conceivably we will have a 50% set of drawings before the first of the year, get those priced, and then our goal of trying to get started in the first quarter, hopefully, as I've said before, I'd like to start in January, is doable. That's a tight schedule, I'll tell you, that's a tight schedule, but we're still pushing for that date. So internally, we're looking at trying to be started at the latest in the first quarter, but hopefully, as we anticipated earlier, to start during the month of January. We've met with our lenders, our financing is still fine. Everything else as far as the way we're progressing, we really haven't encountered any obstacles. And let me lastly say is the reason why we moved so quickly, and I'm not, this is purely just, I would be remiss if I didn't make this comment. The cooperation that we've had from the city staff and the city of Norfolk, from the city attorney's office, the city manager's office, the housing authority, the development authority, and everyone has been unparalleled in my experience. I've done 4 public-private partnerships. They've been very forthright with the good and the bad, and if we miss something in the process of planning, they'd say, well, Bruce, you might want to take another look at such and such, so there wouldn't be any surprises, and it truly has expedited the entire process, and I can't imagine having moved this quickly, but for the cooperation that we've had from the city staff. So I'm happy to answer any questions. And that's kind of my update for today.
Any questions for Bruce?
Bruce, you can get started, what I call fast track, maybe is another word, with, once you get 50, you can get started with your site work and those type things before you're complete working drawings or.
Right. As soon as if we have yeah, that's exactly right. If we have a good set, if we're comfortable with the pricing as it is, and particularly that we can start on the foundations all in the first quarter pretty easily. But we want to make sure we get that 50% set of plans and that the city is comfortable and we're comfortable with where we are at that point in time before we do start.
Terry?
I'm excited about all this, obviously, and pleased that you're moving ahead. But I've asked Marcus earlier on this, and I just would like to kind of get your response on the design components. Many of us are concerned this is a historic downtown. I'm anxious that parking garages don't present just a blank facade, but are in keeping with the traditions and the architecture of that neighborhood. Where is the interface with community leaders and design review, and how, as fast as this moving, I'm anxious that there's also, we take some pause to make sure that the design is in keeping with what we as a community would like to see.
There's 3 things that I'll share with you. First of all is that during our design review, or during our design development days, we had an extensive briefing on 2 separate occasions, and everything that we did, Ray Gingeris was there involved and was watching and overseeing, just giving us. The first thing we had, all the designers that were involved, had a briefing on the history of Norfolk, what Granby Street was and is, how the street system has been set up. I mean, we were very well we were told more than once that we need to be sensitive to the environment, particularly as it relates to Plume Street. And when you see some of the elevations, because, you know, Plume Street is the back door of the hotel. That's where you're going to enter the parking garage. It's where delivery is going to come. And it's where, if we had a design sort of abuse, it could happen on Plume Street. The second is that we are very cognizant of and want to maintain, for a lot of different reasons, that little public plaza that you all had out there before that you all worked into the design. And lastly, and it's kind of fun, we have every intention of restoring the Decker building onto that, onto Granby Street where you all took it down and putting that facade there. And on the interior, the way we have designed it, in fact, on the second floor where we have a restaurant that's designed right now, you'll go, there's a, imagine the Decker building being on Granby Street and that being a facade. What we've done is on the well, actually we're doing it on the first and second floor, but on the second floor we've refined the plans a little bit. You'll go back to this Italian restaurant that will be on the second floor that's got this place we call the Social that's out front that overlooks the plaza. But as you go to the back where the Decker building starts, there's some bookcases that open up sort of like we've discovered something. And on the inside of that, not just the facade, but we're going to recreate the inside of the Decker building in there so it'll feel like we broke into the old building and you're going into another wall. It'll be a little more modern architecture and a little more hip, if you will. But as you go back into that building, into that part of it, it'll be back with the old exposed brick and the beams and the rough wood and all that right next to another building. So it'll look like, and we're trying to give the impression that the Decker building is still there and that we've actually moved into it. So we welcome as the plans get done because I've been there when we try to not be sensitive to what the community has in mind. I mean, we don't want to get way down the road. So, Dr. Whibley, if you, we welcome the comments. We have been sensitive to, like I said, Plume Street's what we were told, the plaza, and the Decker building. And generally, like I said, we're mindful and respectful of that, but we really want to do something that's a little fresh that maybe doesn't lock us into,
Are you anticipating a connection with Selden Arcade?
Yeah, we're so, yeah, that's one of the reasons why today that we are still absolutely, the answer to that is yes, absolutely, but the connection is a little bit difficult. We're fighting, without getting into too much detail, but we're trying to make that garage more efficient and the building more efficient, and when we did, it had to narrow up a little bit the lobby of the hotel or the front portion of the hotel. So that connection doesn't work quite as well as it would if we had the garage pushed back a little bit. So we're trying to figure out how to get in behind Dieg and to create that. But we would like to have, we envisioned looking down the end of what we call the Grand Central Station Main Street, because the lobby's on the second floor, looking down there and seeing a glass wall that goes into, and having a piece of art at the end that goes into that leads you, and it almost, we want to claim the D-Art Center and the Selden Arcade as our space, and then connect from there into the Slover. So how wonderful will that be for someone that's staying in the hotel to be able to go through the D-Art Center, then go into the Slover, and then get on the Tide, and I can ride home. Although I am taking an apartment in
There will be some opportunity, though, Marcus, for the community
You're gonna have to extend it all the way
meet
down.
with the design.
Don't worry.
This will have a complete design review process. And all of that will have to come back here for the council to vote on to give them a building.
I just didn't want to get too swept ahead with as fast moving as this. Not that I'm unhappy about fast moving.
No, well, I mean, yeah, and you just tell us what we need to do, we'll be there.
How many stories are you talking about?
Right now, we're the exact height of the Dominion building, 23 stories. But we have an arcade. If we continue with the plan the way it is, there's a glass arcade that's on the front that goes to 100 stories, and on top of that, we will have that roof garden that we sort of talked about. But it's an all-glass arcade that's on the face of that right now. But we're the same height as the Dominion.
How many suites and restaurants?
Right now, we have in the plan, if we count the rooftop place, we have 3, possibly 4. We might want to wait. We might save this one location we have for a 4th place. And from a suite standpoint, currently I think we have 24 suites in the building. But
Presidential one.
we have 2 presidential suites and 24 really nice suites.
Excellent.
Okay. Well, Bruce, thank you for taking time out.
That's
Thank
my
you for all
pleasure.
the energy you
Thank
brought to this.
And thanks for the
project.
opportunity.
We'll look forward to the, to the pretty pictures, as you said.
Yeah, well, and as soon as I have them, and
Diagrams.
we'll have a little more, you just tell me where you want me to be, and I'll be happy to show them.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all.
Thank you all. Thank you. Okay. Yes, sir.
Move the members of council assemble in closed meeting on August 20, 2013 at 2:25 PM for the purpose set out in clauses 1, 3, and 7 of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act. That is, discussion of candidates for appointment to city boards, commissions, and authorities. 3, discussion of the acquisition of real property for public purpose in downtown and Ocean View, and of the disposition of publicly held property downtown and in the Lake Way area. 7, consultation with legal counsel and briefings by staff members, consultants, or attorneys regarding one legal matter affecting the schools. Mr. Burford? Mr. Protogiru?
Aye.
Mr. Smigiel,
Aye.
Dr. Whibley?
Aye.
Ms. Williams? Mr. Lynn?
Aye.
Mr. Frame?
Aye.